Oh, big yawn. Oh, bacon. What a bacon. Right, I did some stuff this last time. Not much really. I changed the attack breakdown, made it a bit nicer. Um, changed those bits, added some percentages in. I've changed the way attacks and classes and stuff are handled because it was just a bit silly before. And they shouldn't be doing all the damages. So I've just called that out. And we need to add the notion of weapons and stuff anyway. So let's just quickly see what's there now. As long as that's all done, commit that up, and I'll potentially look to tick off a few of the other tickets just to do with updating some of the infrastructure. And I can't remember what else. That's the reason why I got the issues. As you can see, they don't actually do any damage anymore because I've changed all the stuff here. So they've got that should actually be 30% element defense. That's the problem with the effect thingy. Yeah, effectively they've changed all the stats and things now. I've changed that to be a bit nicer, but that'll just go on forever because they can't win. So let's commit that up. I mean, nice as a that's in the eye of the beholder there, but I think if I go to I can basically make the combat log like a simple version or a complex version. So for the moment, it's just going to be complex by default. Right, update that one. Let's do that next. What are we on a branch? No, we're not on a branch. So let's push that up. Make a branch for this issue. Oh, goodness me. Right. So update ECS, alright, so that's fine. All we're gonna do here is go to the new get packages. Update on. I mean, just we're not even going to be using the ECS bit. We're just going to be using Systems Direct, which is now the underlying provider for a lot of this. Because that was changed in the last major update. So if we go to Systems, no longer need this one anymore. That's not needed at all. I'll leave the Paradigms one there in case we end up doing stuff later. What's time? Yeah. Update system. And it's iBasic system, isn't it? iBasic system. Yeah, iBasic system. That should be alright. It's called execute now. Execute. Yeah. Oh, God's sake. Just elbow fingers. Yep, so that's that one updated. This will be the same sort of thing. This is now an I react to event system. Oh, this one's gonna be process. And there that's that done. That's another base anymore. Don't need event. Oh, actually, we do need event system because we use it to publish. Event, yeah. Cool. So that gives us that. Yeah, the rest that can stay there. Don't need that anymore. It's no longer a custom system convention. It just becomes an iBasic system. This comes execute. Shouldn't need the I update schedule, I don't need that anymore. Put the bin. And the good thing is, well, because of these patterns, I can change the constructors around as much as I want, and it'll just carry on working. Because the DI framework basically takes care of all that for me. It just finds the best possible constructor and uses it. Yeah, there's no base. Don't need that, don't need that. Go away. Oh, system, yeah, we'll move that. Right, yeah, all this stuff's moved down to systems RX. It used to be part of ECS RX, but there was a lot of stuff in there which didn't actually depend on let's keep building, that'll probably go away. Yeah, there wasn't that many bits which actually depend on ECS. So the decision was made to, well, just let's rip some of it out and make the systems their own thing, which is where systems RX came from. Because the ECS RX can just ride on top of that, really. Yeah, that one there. Hopefully this will just be a namespace mapping exercise. Once this is all done, we can just go back to running, make sure it all works, and then move on to all the other tasks. And yeah, most of these extension methods will now be pulled from the systems RX rather than the ECS RX bit. Yeah. Yeah, that's in systems RX now. Let's just rebuild, let's see. Get rid of the stale errors. That'll be an extension method which is moved. Or not. What is wrong with that? Yeah, I get that. That's that in. Yeah. Seems legit. Oh, wait, that hasn't been updated. Will that need to be? Yeah, because I think that's getting... What does that inherit from? I mean, it's only going to take a minute to... Yeah, that's inherited from the old one. Okay, let's update that. That one. Yeah. Sorry if I'm giving everybody a fit with the windows. New window, right. No, that's... No. Go away, you poor excuse. Have a solution there. Yes, that one. This window. Okay, cool. So if we just go here, manage NuGet, whatever that is. Come on. There you go. Right, yeah, so pretty much all this stuff's gone. No, I don't want... Okay, just give me the NuGet ones. Right, yeah, so all this has been updated, so let's just update all of this. Go. Actually, you know what? I don't need half this stuff. Oh, actually, I think that the example uses it. I don't think half of this stuff's actually used on the DI part. Oh, whatever. Quit you whinging. I wish there was maybe there is. Maybe I'm just blind. Oh no. Reload back. Yes, do that. Do that, yes. Oh, delightful. That's what I wanted. That's what I'm all about. Right, there we go. Let's update that. As you can see, it's just going to be namespace geth. Just literally map over to systems RX. Remove that one. All fine and good there. In this console app, it's not going to be that. Yeah. Not the most exciting of work, I'll be honest, but it's got to be done. Oh, that's gonna be an iBasic entity system now. Basic entity system. Yeah, and that is going to need ECS actually. Yeah, that's mapped over to that part. Right, this now becomes an iReact to event system. Do I need that? No, I don't. I'm not using that anyway. You can bin that off. I need that bit. Don't have a base. All your base are belong to us. Let's go to that bit. Oh, actually, if I go back to the previous one, I have a group. Oh, that's fine. Reservable group. Where'd that come from? No. Where did the reservable group come from? Oh, that came from that bit, didn't it? Right, okay. Let me pull in the... There's another thing I can pull in. ECSRX. And I want... Group binding, there we go. Pull that one in. The group binding just basically lets me put an attribute on and it auto resolves the observable group stuff for me. I can do public observable group. Group, yes. There, that'll get that resolved. That then becomes processed. The rest of it should be fine. Let's go to all this stuff. Yeah, okay, that seems okay. I'm probably gonna have to change the application as well. Where's the group binding? Plug in. There you go. So that bit there basically allows us to have the system which does the binding, resolving hookup stuff. Again, if anybody's got any questions on what's actually going on right now, don't hesitate to ask. Right. That should hopefully be that. And again, I'd probably be going back to the actual game bit, but this library needs updating, so I mean we're quite lucky in a way because I've got access to all the source and I can push stuff out. Oh my god, I'm just gonna punch Gooch. Absolute moron. There we go. Yeah, I can push these out myself, which will luckily do NuGet releases, and that is very good. Oh god, what do you mean you can't find iGroups? It's there. Oh yes, that is right. That is a legitimate error. We put that in on purpose. So if I go to oh, I need to add an iGroup system. Because if it doesn't have the iGroup system, it doesn't know for sure that there's going to be a group on there. So the iGroup systems there is kind of like a proof of contract to say, hey, look, when you do from group and you don't provide a group, look at there. So that's fine. Legitimate error. And there we go. That sends it to a server and comes back. Cool and good there. I don't know why it does that extra bit at the end. It's hit and miss when that happens. Anyway, that's done. Let's go to this one. No, not battle kill. No, that one. Yeah. Right, push that up. Push, 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 push. Cool. And we'll tag that as 3.2.66. Because again, the NuGet stuff only goes through on a tag push. Not that this has got anything to do with the actual Blazor game. It's just I need that to go up to get the new dry IOC bits for the DI to work in there. Yeah, in a minute, well, I'll probably say about 5 minutes, it'll update with the newest one, and that should all cascade through. So that'll solve that issue. Come on, go to, for goodness sake. No, no. Yes. Yeah, use that. If anybody's wondering, this delightful music's from Lemmings. Everybody likes their own sort of music when some people like Rammstein and they're just mentally moshing. Other people like a bit of Mozart. I just like 8-bit music. Now there's some facts Xanadu now. Well, Jim, this was way ahead of its time. This was like a Metroidvania open world 2D game. Back on the NES. And you literally go from the start of the game to the end of the game. And back. Whenever you wanted. Well, as long as you had the right items to like fly and stuff. Pretty good. Anyway, let's just quickly watch the release on here. Dryer. See. Is that where we want to? No, I do not want to go there. Just take me to ECS outlet, please. Oh, I haven't got a link there for the silly Apveya stuff. If I go to the ECS, alright. Oh, this is from one of my favourite games ever. Dungeons & Dragons, Warriors of the Eternal Sun. It's, again, it was trailblazing. It was made by Westwood, the same people who made Command & Conquer. And, it had top-down tactical strat fighting and first-person fighting. That's crazy. Right, let's go for this one. ECS, alright. ECS, alright. Oh, wrong. No, infrastructure. Right. Ah, goodness. Maybe it's gonna be ECS. Alright. Yeah. Ah. That's rubbish. Right, I'm gonna in another window over here, in a private window. I'm gonna quickly go on Apveya and have a look at what's going on. And I think I might. Am I gonna? No, well, won't bother. Come on, log me in. Log me in. Right, yeah, that went through. That went through fine. Let me get the badge thing, and I can add to the two-player thingy-mabob. Right, so let's have a look at the raw of the readme. Cool. Build status. Take that and go to there. Go to him. Go to there. I appreciate this is a bit of a meander. This is what we're meant to be doing at all, but I need to do a bit of this, I think. Oh, God, I can't do it there because I'm... Right, I'll do it on this page. This hidden page that nobody can see. You're like, what are you doing? We can't see what you're doing. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. ECS RNX, ECS, Dryer C1. That one. It's going to take a minute for the NuGet stuff to propagate anyway. Edit. I got that one there. And we want build status and build status URL. And we also got the NuGet ones as well, actually. Put NuGet on there. NuGet version. Right. Build status, yes. Give me the build status URL. Can I access that from here? Yes, I can. That's good. That's what we need. That's the URL. Branch master. Because this is a legacy project, I don't think it's mapped over from master to main. I'll be honest, I can't be bothered updating it at the moment. It can just be updated at some point in the future. NuGet, right. The NuGet one is going to be ECSRX.infrastructure.drive.IOC. Infrastructure. See. Right, let me just check that. Preview changes. Still passing. Where's the other one? The NuGet one isn't not good. Let's go to NuGet quickly. Oh god, every time I have to sign in. It's like, you know who I am. You know who I am. Don't make me sign in loads. Right. Yes, it is that one. It's literally that one. I'm gonna say this. See if I can yeah, that works fine. Yes, there we go. That all working. Let's commit changes there. And if we magically go back to here now, not that one. There. Oh, there we go. Build pen. It's fine. It's a new build. We can ignore that. Right. That's the actual web thing that we were working on. Manage this one. There is going to be an update. Come on. Give me the dry OC update. There we go. Update. Right, so that should fix that. There we go. Combat log view is fine. That's exactly what it's meant to be. That bit there is rubbish. Ignore that. You can't trust anything Visual Studio says. When running plays it honestly has no idea what it's doing. It has less of an idea than I do. Right. Let's just run it, make sure nothing crazy happens. And then we're good. That's fine, they're not doing anything, it's still clicking people. Yeah, that's all cool and good. Right, so let's commit that out. That then will be where is it? That will be that one there done. 22. Which one is it? It is 32. Merge into main. It doesn't seem to hook through on the. Depending on where I've worked in different places, we've set up like auto comment things so that when you do like hash whatever the thing is, it'll automatically reference it. If you like hash whatever closed, it'll just close it off for you. But it doesn't seem to do that yet. Right, so what's next? Right, so I think adding the notion of, let me just refresh this, make sure there's no fail stuff. I'm not just about the basic combat at the moment. Yeah, let's go with this weapon and armor. Because once we got weapon and armor, we can actually go back to doing damage again, and that's going to be a fairly crucial thing. That look at all the branches we're going to have. Probably have to prune some of them at some point. Right. So I want to make the notion of a weapon. So unit default character, does that have equipment on it? I think it does. Oh. Now, I'm just pretty much going to ride off the back of the character. I don't actually need a lot of the... Well, I'll quickly load up and I'll show you what I mean. So, the... Oh, actually, I can probably do it in an easier way than here. Let's close that off. Bin it. Go to here and I go to that one. I don't want that. Let's go to him there. And that one. And this one. And the live demos. Right, so because this is effectively where we're sourcing all the data from, we're effectively using this library here. So as you can see, it builds up on the basic components, then you got stats, then you got advanced stats, and we have a default character with all this stuff in. So as you can see, the code used to generate all this is there. But in our perspective, we're not going to really care about magic. We're not going to care about charisma. Pure damage, pure defense, we're not going to care about them. So I'm thinking I'll probably change, because we just pulled this in. We've effectively ripped this off, pulled this into ours. I'm going to cull off the charisma. We don't need that. A lot of that stuff's going to go. And the race and class effects, like as you can see there, we're pulling that in, but I want that to ideally be on a card. So I'm thinking something kind of like Diablo or whatever, where you've got, where you've got like your weapon and your, well, let's find a Diablo 3 screenshot. Diablo 3 inventory. Yeah, so it's definitely not going to be as good as this. But I just basically want like 3 slots. One for weapon, one for armor, one for misc or something. And by default, when we create a character or enemy, whatever, we'll just give them unarmed or something. Maybe depending on the class, they'll get a really shitty weapon, like a sword or something. But we need to have the notion of an item, which we'll get from OpenRPG, that's fine. And we've also got the notion of equipment. Equipment in OpenRPG comes with a load of other stuff. Yeah, here we go, it's OpenRPG. Let's go to equipment. Oh, that's just the equipment slots. Have we got the fancy one open? Yes, we do. Okay, so equipment. So yeah, it's got a whole load of equipment slots there, and it's all wired up so that you can only equip certain ones in certain bits. We don't need all of that. We're probably just gonna take upper body slot, main hand slot, and maybe like ring slot or something. I mean, we could add a new slot if we wanted to. That's the cool thing about it, because it's all composable. We can get rid of that. Well, we can ignore that interface and make our own if we want, because this is just the fantasy version. So the idea is that, I know we've briefly mentioned this before, but if I go back to here, the idea is that everything's kind of layered on top of each other. So you can just have like a basic interface there, which just describes like a race, a class, whatever. You can add more bits on. So you can kind of decide how much you want and which bits you don't want. So for us, we can kind of say, well, look, we're happy enough with the fantasy stuff out of the box, because that gives us a load of effects we care about. It gives us a load of character stuff and stats we care about and damage calculations. But we don't actually care about a lot of this stuff in our scenario. So we can just call that out. And that's what an equipment slot looks like. So it's like a slot type, what item's actually in there, the unequip the item, go item slot. So there's a lot of functionality around that anyway. So let's jump back into here. So where would I go? Right, okay, I'm going to need to make an item repository. Let's have a look if there's one in the... Does this repository have one? Because if so, I can just rob it from here. Actually, it'll probably be in the infrastructure layer. Data. And template repository. There we go, cool. So we'll just rob that. And I've probably already got that open somewhere in here, because I was robbing stuff from it before. Yeah, infrastructure. Data. Template repository, cool. Don't put that in here. We could write all this from scratch. We could easily just go, right, okay, I'm going to implement that interface, write it all down there, call it a day. But as it's effectively going to be what was in that web demo anyway. Because that's effectively what that source is there, by the way. That, which one was it? Oh no, it was in the folder, wasn't it? All this stuff here, no, not that one, that one. All that stuff there is just the source for OpenRPG demo web. So we're just basically stealing from there. Well, not stealing. It's my code, so I'm just copying and pasting. So in data, and I'll have to wrap this with an interface as well. Well, I don't have to, but it would make more sense to. Because as we said before, although some of these interfaces here just wrap one single interface, like we're typing that. But because we're binding it to an iRace template, we can reference an iRace template anywhere we want now. And it's always going to be the right interface. So if we change the actual implementation from this one, which is an in-memory one, we don't have to redo the entire app. And again, it pushes it down to a DI configuration concern. So, let's do the item template repository. This again is an in-memory one, so this is going to come with a load of stuff for free. We can just remove a load of this. And that's going to be a item template. So let's make another one of these. Item template repository. Yes. Yeah. And the in there's the key, by the way. So that's the type that we want. That's the kind of the object that the repository gets, and that's the key for it. Because if I go into this will have a iHasData interface or something, which indicates it has a unique ID. Yeah, iHasData ID. So behind the scenes, this is made up of a load of other interfaces, but this is kind of like a culmination of them all. Right. Move that to its own one. I was hoping he might say Gooch tonight. I haven't seen him do. He came on and he's like, oh, I want to do my code. And I haven't seen him for like a week on code. He's a lying sack of shit. Right, there's that one done. So that one there is going to get implemented by this one. Ooh, I'm good. Yes, implement it. Let me just quickly do the namespace gubbins. There you go. Right then. Item template lookups. That sounds like a Minecraft villager there. Maybe for now I'll just follow the convention that's been set in there. But I think I might want to break away from that going forward. Because again, the web demo was built just to be able for people to quickly be able to look at it and go, okay, I see how to use the library. And quick code examples. Whereas with this, we kind of want to do a bit more than that going forward. But for now, it'll do. So template lookups, and I think we've got a lookups in here or types or something. Now, where does that come from? Oh yeah, there we go. So, Chimes live in the game. I guess maybe they should as well, really. Yeah, maybe I'm going to move them over. Let's just find where these are used. Are they used in the framework layer? No. Is this one used in the framework layer? No. One used in the framework layer? Oh, that one is. Stack extensions, initiative. Well, to be honest, the stack extensions could move forward anyway. Let's see if this is used there. Yeah, that's fine. All of these can get moved. So let's just move all these types into the game. Because again, we want the framework just to be the basic kind of models for it all. If we could potentially merge the game and the framework, if I'm being honest. I'm trying to be a bit more separated for the benefit of anybody who's watching going, oh, well, why have we just got a massive collection of stuff in one big thing? Here, at least I can go, well, these are all the basic data models and the really, like, I could take this stuff and put it in any game. Like, I could make any sort of strat RPG. It doesn't have to be this strat RPG, whereas this one's more specific for our needs. And then that's obviously the view for all of this. So let's put all of them in there. Types, cool. Let's delete all, no. Delete all of them there. Gone. Extensions. That extensions. Like, you know, extensions in here. Quickly do the old adjust namespaces. Yeah, and I fully expect everything to just kind of shit the bed right now. But yes, take that. That no, new game type. Blender. There we go. I mean, I can still take this bit. Really, I can still take this game and make a different game based off this. I mean, that's basically how mods work, isn't it? You go, well, there's an already existing game there, but I'm going to kind of patch it with my own stuff. I mean, you could potentially add mod support in this with Wasm. As long as you expose an entry point and follow the notion of an ECSRX plugin, you could just kind of go, well, actually, when you load in all this stuff. Maybe that'll be a fun thing to do, like, I don't know. I mean, again, fun's a strong word. AVA for a sec. Right. What am I doing? Yes, so the item template lookup. So let's just have right, so we'll have a sword, an S word, 1. Then what will rogue have? Rogues would have a dagger. 2. What would a mage have? A mage would have a 1? A staff. Staff. I don't know, would they have a staff or a wand? Let's go with a staff. We're not bothering with dual wielding stuff at the moment. And we've only got 3 classes, so that'll do for now. So this is effectively like a cheap way of just, because we're doing all in memory at the moment. We're not loading in external JSON files with item stuff in. In the real world, we would want to do that. And when we get down to the Unity layer, well, I say the Unity layer, when we bin this off and end up moving to Unity or whatever, which we probably will at some point, that would be a good time to start having external files. And we might have external files here. There's no reason why we couldn't. I can do exactly the same stuff in this web layer that I could in Unity. And that's the whole point of this, to point out, hey, look, I'm making a game as if I'd be making it in Unity, but hey, look, it's run through a website with Wasm, which is just mental. But we can do this, so for the moment, though, when in Rome, let's just keep adding stuff to here. So, sword, dagger, staff, and that'll do for now, to be honest. We'll add more later. So if I build this, stuff's going to poop out. Poop, poop. Will you stop complaining about that, you silly thing? Right. No, wait, no, that's... Nope. Adjust namespaces. Okay. Right. And as I said before, everybody in the future who's watching this, and you're like, oh, I've got a question to ask. Don't hesitate. Come ask. Go on the Discord. Ask on one of the other streams. I'm always more than happy to talk about code. And I'm more than happy to knowledge share as well on whatever topics. Or if you see a better way of doing things, let me know. That's the thing about development. It's always built on top of knowledge from other people. So you're always like, well, hey, I could learn something new from somebody else. See, it's always good to talk about different approaches with different people. Anyway, so we've got a sword. Sword again. We're just gonna use the name locale as the actual raw string. In an ideal world, in a realistic scenario, these would be codes, and all these codes would link through to the locale stuff, which would have German, English, US, whatever. Because this is made for kind of production apps, but because we have these shortcuts here where we can go, well, Actually, we can just call it a string. We can call it a sword there. It's fine. We don't have to physically do the locale lookup. It's a generic weapon. Modification. We're not allowing any modifications. There's no requirements on it. Right, the effect on the sword is it is going to do slashing damage amount, and I guess it's going to do 2 damage. That should be fine. We'll give it common quality. Value. We're not that fussed about value in this game. We'll leave value. I'm not really that fussed at the moment. Maybe we'll have a part where you can sell stuff after 5 levels or something. I don't know. Super sword. We don't have a super sword. Go away. Let's look at all the stuff that sword has. And yet, because we're using OpenRPG, we get this stuff for free. We can just apply effects. You can have as many effects as you want on an item, or a class, or a race. It's just it all gets cumulative and added up at the end through all the calculators and things. We don't want a potion. I mean, we might want a potion going forward. We might decide, hey, you know what? We have a card which is a potion. Because all these things are basically going to be exposed as cards. That's what's going to be the semi-clever... Well, in my mind it seems clever. That all this stuff will just be exposed as, oh, look, there's a card. I can equip a sword on this person. Because I've got a sword card. And there's no reason why I couldn't just take this sword card and give it to a mage. And they'd do slashing damage. But because they don't get any... their class... well, the race might do. But their classes don't get any bonuses for that. It wouldn't work out. Anyway, let's make another one here. We have 2 more of them. Flop, flop. Again, that's Control and D. Control and D basically duplicates that, whatever you got highlighted. So make a dagger. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I need to hear Golden Axe. OST. Golden Axe. Oh yeah. Oh, delicious. Anybody remember Golden Axe? What a game. I remember going to the arcade with my 10p's. Oh, Gilius Thundernuts. I'm gonna be him. D. Right. So default item template. This is gonna be a dagger. And the ID is basically we're just wrapping up with this. So if we ever want to find it, we can just use ID item template lookups to find the ID through the repository. So a dagger. Okay. And the asset code here is effectively so that in Unity or whatever your view layer is, that can hook into like a sprite or, I mean, even like a behavior tree or anything. It's just basically there to tie this to whatever resources you want. I mean, it could be a common delimited list of stuff. Let me break it up. This one's a pretty sweet dagger. Generic weapon, no requirements. Right, this one here is going to do piercing damage. Piercing damage amount. And that is going to have a potency of 2 as well. We just want them to be just the generic starting things. Wait, that's not the right one. That's not where I parked my car. And that bit actually needs... that bit needs to go up here. Oh, these 8-bit tracks. Just take me back. Thing is, to anybody who's... I guess a lot of this is down to nostalgia. If you see to anybody who's like under the age of 30, they're probably like, what is this nonsense you're playing? This isn't even music. Oh, but this is my childhood we're hearing right now. Right, make a wand. Staff. There you go. As descriptive as you like there. Yeah, exactly. I'm just using, if you haven't heard of Blazor, it's effectively like React, but in C#. and it goes through. You basically compile it down to WASM, which is like a DLL that browsers understand, and you run it through there. So I'm not blitting or anything, but effectively, as far as you're concerned, my view layer is the web. So much like in Unity, I can put a sprite on the page. In HTML, I can put an image on the page, and I give it a top and a left, and say it's a position absolute and put it wherever I want. So, but the idea at this stage is, well, React wouldn't understand the DLL, but WASM is the if I quickly load up something here, WASM WebAssembly. There, go have a look at that stuff. I mean, they've got like Linux running in WASM and stuff. You can literally run with like a Linux kernel in the browser. You can run Quake in the browser. Well, because WebAssembly effectively will let you compile anything down to a WebAssembly. It's ASM in the web. WASM. But yeah, we don't need to worry about that too much. But the point is, when you're making games, you want to iterate quickly early on. But when you're in Unity or whatever, I mean, you might know Unity far better than you know CSS and HTML. But really, a lot of the time, you're just going to be like, I just want to slap a sprite somewhere. I just want to make some UI stuff. And this is probably going to be more of a UI-driven game for a lot of it. It's a lot quicker to make a UI and iterate on it using the web tech. And also, Unity has a lot of overhead with, like, trying to restart, trying to load, doing quick refactors because it's got all its own gubbins. You compile twice, once in the IDE, once in... Well, you don't have to compile in the IDE at all, really. You just let Unity do it. But with this, it's a faster turnaround, for me anyway. So I'm being overly convoluted going, look, I'm running a game, an ECS framework with game loops and stuff in the web browser. And it works. What was I doing? I was over in the item template repository. Make stuff. I'll show it running in a minute. I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but it's not really meant to look pretty. Right, and we'll do fire damage. Yeah, we'll make it do 2 fire damage. Because mages will get a bonus to fire damage and stuff. Because they're effect. Right, let's yep. Make dagger. Make. Right, we're gonna add this to the module stuff. And again, everything I'm doing here from the framework and the game layer, I'd be doing in Unity. Yeah, I will be. At some point, I'll just bin the web layer off. Just throw it in a bin, set it on fire, and then move over to Unity or something. But it's not going to be anytime soon. One of the whole points of this, I feel that this is lost on a lot of the audience. A lot of people come in here going, I want to see somebody making games in Unity. No, that's not what this is about. You can go watch anybody make games in Unity. What you won't see most people doing is actually writing game mechanics out in code and having a complete view separation. Like, I could literally throw that in the bin now, take this bit here, and run it in Unity, and I'd still have a game working, even if I'm not rendering stuff. Yeah, super pluggable. So if I look in here, like, bearing in mind, this is the game layer. It has nothing to... You could run it in a console app. You could run it on a calculator. But this knows, like, has a level ended? Do I need to set up a level? Do I need to take a round execution? All this stuff, I could turn the web... I could basically not render anything and still have the game running. Because it's not tied to the view. The view is effectively just looking at the source of truth and going, oh, I'll just render what I can. That's why I'm not making it look pretty in the web world. I just basically want to show, hey, look, you could do this you would be doing this exact same approach in Unity if you were using design patterns and stuff. Because ECSRX, you can run that in Unity. But the whole point of this is, look, you don't need Unity. It doesn't matter what your view is. If you try and code away from the view and attach the view on later, you're going to have a lot more portable code. It's going to be a lot easier to manage. It'll run a lot faster. Because mono behaviors, they're slow. I mean, even Unity try to get away from mono behaviors. So anyway, that's why we're doing it this way. I should record that as a sound bite, and I can just play it over and over. Oh, let me. I haven't tried this yet. Let me see if this one works. Oh, it does. I added some memes earlier. I added some more memes on. Well, one meme. I haven't actually tried it when it was running. But I know that works now. Right. Yes, I need to add that to the module. And I'll show you in a minute once this is actually up and running. Because it's another thing as well. How... I assume you've used Unity, right, Chrono Walker? You've used Unity? You like it, yeah? They go into... Shit, where's I gonna get injected? Yeah, but ignoring the mono behaviors, you know Unity, right? How many times have you seen anybody using dependency injection in Unity? In the tutorials you've read, the article, I don't know how good skill-wise. I think you were in the ECSLX chat room, weren't you? And you said that you were okay with Unity, but you hadn't used necessarily all the design patterns that we were talking about. So I mean, how often, given all the articles and tutorials and stuff you've read and seen about Unity, how often have you seen people use dependency injection? Right, do I need to instantiate anything on that? Where is it? There. Right. No, because that happens in the constructor. That's fine then. That should all get resolved now. Fine. Not. We want the types from in here. What? Yes, that's 100% correct there. Oh yeah, it definitely does take time. But my point is, almost everybody you'll go to see when they're like, "Oh, come look, we're making Unity game dev stuff and things, and here's how to use Unity." They're not targeting good code and like well-maintained game systems and infrastructure. They're just basically showing you the quickest, bare bones way to throw stuff together. Which, yeah, sure, it'll if you're a new person, it will get you started, and it'll give you a taste for developing stuff. But the problem is, no, I don't want that one. It's not on that one, you stupid thing. But yeah, the whole point of this one is, look, we're going past that. We're going... Exactly, it's technical debt. I feel that's one of the things which is lost in translation here on these streams. Because quite a few people I see come in, and they're just kind of like, yeah, it looks a bit shit. And I'm like, yeah, I know it does, I know. That's exactly the point here. It's not meant to look pretty, because I don't care about the web. I'm making a game that could look as majestic as we wanted. But right now, it's just looking like a sack of crap. No, let's... No, why would it come from there? It does not come from there. You stupid thing. Oh, maybe that's... No. What? This whole thing's been stupid. It does, it full on exists. Honest to God, it exists right there. I can see it with my eyes. Right there. And I can see that one too. You know what, we'll call this game stat variables because it's doing my head in the thing not having a clue what's going on. But it's a massive mountain to climb though, going from none of these things to all of them at once. Right, there we go. Now it's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm cool with that. God forbid we should have two things which are possibly the same name. Anyway, let's let that out. So, I mean, that's why I appreciate from your perspective, you're looking at this like, I don't know, 10, 12 hours in, going, whoa, loads of crazy stuff here. But if you were to go back to like the very first VOD that we did, there's literally nothing here. All we're doing is making a unit, and step by step we're going, right, let's add some stuff. Let's keep adding stuff. We're adding like little bits constantly. And literally over 15 hours, we've pretty much made the core of a game, to some extent. It's not a good game. It's not a good game yet, but it will be quite good, hopefully. What? Where was the other one? Oh, right. Stupid thing. That's why that was blowing up. It's the wrong bloody one. Wrong one. Anyway, let's keep that. Let's rename that and keep that as is. And just call that stat things. It will know which one that one is because they got different names now. Yes, that's fine. And where's the extensions for that? Yeah, that's got the right ones in. Right, okay. Because the thing is as well, right? My day-to-day job, right? I'm usually like a seniorish dev. I try not to be lead because then you end up doing too much. They end up getting you to do managerial rubbish or having to be drafted into too many meetings. So I find because I prefer to do the actual technical implementation, I prefer senior roles. Anyway, as part of that, there's an awful lot of mentoring other devs. So quite a lot of the time, and I'm a contractor as well. So I've got my own business, and I kind of like a business will hire me for 3 months to come in and do some implementation and maybe some training. So as part of that, we'll do like these things called brown bag sessions. You can call them what you will, but effectively during lunch break or an arbitrary time of the week, I'll do a little presentation on a topic. Like for web stuff, we'll learn about promises or TypeScript or Webpack or something like that. If it was in the game devs, I haven't actually worked in the games industry, but if I was in the games industry, we'd be talking about maybe dependency injection in Unity or whatever engine we were using, or we'd be talking about the value of structs in C# or something. But it's basically something that we can share with other people. So all the stuff that we're kind of covering here is all the stuff that I would like. Even in the web world, I'd be teaching people about IOC and dependency injection. But you're kind of getting it for free. That's why I'm like, anybody who comes on here, ask as many questions as you want. I'm more than happy to waffle on about topics while I'm pretending to develop. The problem is I'll keep forgetting where I'm up to and just scroll up and down endlessly. Right, that should hopefully work. Let's go. Go, go, go. Right. Did you see Battlekill 9000? that name was made by chat, by the way. I didn't come up with that name. Auto-battling RPG thing. Literally, this is it. I click on them and see their stats. I'm just going to pause the game there because they can't actually attack each other because I ain't given them weapons yet. So although they've got effects on them, they can't really do anything. Oh, I need to get rid of those bits. Those bits are useless now. Yeah, so I mean, at the fundamental level, we've got a basic game here. We've got a grid. We've got units. They can attack each other. They have stats, and then I'm going to add in a minute the ability to have cards. So you'll get cards as turns go on, and you defeat enemies, and you can apply the cards to people to buff them, and you'll go to a new level, and you'll basically keep iterating on that. But the core thing is, look, I can load this. It loads at the first level, and it loads up all these people, puts them in the game. And they'll fight. Like if I put on 4 times speed, watch this now. 1 time speed. See that? This is a core game loop. The game looks like garbage. I'm well aware of that. But the core game loop is effectively the same, regardless whether it's in Unity or in a website or on a calculator. It's still the same thing. And that's, for me, that is the real kind of like the crux of this. People need to stop looking at like game dev articles and tutorials and be like, oh well, unless it looks good, I don't care, because that's not what you learn about. That's just learning about how to make stuff look good, like adding particles and juicing stuff up. And don't get me wrong, that is a skill in itself. But this stuff is like nobody teaches this. It's like, and I don't know why. It really baffles me why people are so, and people are actively against it. I guarantee you, if you went to a load of game developers and said, hey, do you want to learn about dependency injection? They would go, shut the fuck up. Because nobody, the amount of times I've been in Discord rooms and somebody's had a question about like, oh, I think my code could be a bit better. No, oh, just pass stuff in via the constructor. Use IC, and people are like, no, just use a singleton. It's like, what? Why would your knee-jerk reaction be use a singleton? That's mental. That immediately stinks. And then when you try and explain, like, singleton's pretty bad. You can't decouple from that. You can't test it. You can't do any of this stuff. They're just like, why would you test it? Why would you test it? Why do you want to complicate this? It's like this. I appreciate this might seem complicated, but in the long run, this is going to decomplicate a large amount of your architecture and infrastructure. And I'm sounding semi-aggressive on this point. I don't mean to be aggressive, but I have so many conversations with people, and it's just there's so much resistance from people to actually just be like, you know what? Maybe I should learn this stuff. I mean, I was even on he's a really nice guy. He's got his own stream, and he was doing Unity game dev. And I said, oh, have you seen the new Unity UI stuff? Because they're bringing in like an XML-ish, XAML-y sort of UI thing. And I'm like, it's quite good. And especially for the editor stuff, because Unity editor is awful. And he was like, oh yeah, but it's like HTML. I don't know HTML, so it's not of any use to me. Well, you can't really say that if you don't know how something works, and you can't really gauge whether it's of any use to you. I was like, give it a look. It's quite good. But there is that no. It's of no use to me. I don't want to learn that. And I'm like, oh my god. Why would you? Yeah, I mean, some people don't. I mean, it swings around. Like, if you look at the proper AAA games, they'll probably be highly technical because they will care more about performance. But if we look at a lot of the standout, well, I guess this is down to personal preference. But if you look at some of the really like shining indie games, they're not like performance powerhouses. They don't look exceptionally amazing. They just have a good mechanic, which is nice to iterate. I mean, look at Minecraft. Minecraft, one of those popular games, it looks like garbage. It looks like garbage. The main actual like draw of it is building and grading stuff, and really a lot of that's data driven. It's like you could make Minecraft headlessly with all of this stuff, like a recipe. we've got the notion of it in OpenRPG of a recipe to make things. So yeah, I mean the core mechanics are what make these indie games good. Well, the core game loop, shall we say? But yeah, right. So I need to add weapons to people. So let's go to builders, unit builder, and we're gonna add a weapon. Add weapon with weapon. Even like builder pans. it's such a simple thing. Such a simple thing. And a lot of people don't even know, because there's no sort of like, there's no, if you don't know about something, why would you ever think about it? It's like before wheels existed. Nobody thought, oh, we really need a wheel in our lives. Nobody thought about that. When people were riding horses, they weren't like, oh, I wish somebody would invent the car. But when you do this stuff, it's like, oh, well, why didn't we have this before? Do I have an eye weapon? No, so let's do eye item. Eye item template. Oh, no, actually. What do I put on the other bit? Race type bit, okay, so. I should probably change them to int now, because I think they are actually int in the, I think, yeah, they will be. Yeah, Edge Kirby, int. You know, I can do that now. Change these all over to int. Int. Because when we started off, bytes made more sense. They're more optimal. They're an optimized data structure. Because the byte's only going to take up 1 byte, rather than an int, which is, I think, like 4 bytes. So for all your sims, all your single instruction, multiple dimensions, optimizations out there, bytes will be your friend. Right, item ID. Oh, faction type still byte. Let's change that. You're promoted to an int. Happy days. But look at that. It's like just change this to int. No one cares. It's fine. We can refactor that. Right. Turn this, and we need a weapon ID. Oh, and also I'll probably want to change position to a vector 2 and pull in system.numerics. Imagine that doing sim. I don't think I could do intrinsic stuff on here. Imagine that intrinsics through WASM. Oh my god. That'd be like a TED talk right there. They'd be asking me on Gamma Sutra to to give a talk on doing intrinsics via WASM. Right, weapon ID. I am template lookups. And unknown, because we'll set that when they set the we'll set that later. We won't worry about that for now. Weapon ID equals that. No, item ID. Yeah. Yeah, item ID. No, you silly thing. But another thing is, as well, when people kind of come in and look at this, because a lot of the time spent in the code, they're like, well, that's not very interesting. If you look at a lot of the more popular programming Twitches, they've quite often got the gamey bits there. Like, you're always looking at a bit of the game. Whereas in this, we're not. We're just looking at code. And if you're a designer, code's of no use to you. You don't care about code. But as a developer, it is pretty useful. Right, actually, we'll set that afterwards. I'll leave that to be default there. So that's unknown. So if we go down here, if weapon ID equals item lookups.unknown. So if we haven't assigned an item, we'll go off the class. Which class type? If class type is class types dot what? Come on, class types dot. Oh, because it wants to be a const. God's sake, we'll just turn it into ifs then. If class type equals fight. If they're a fight, we'll give them a sword. ID. And to be honest, a large portion of this logic shouldn't live in here now. The builder's becoming a bit too big. We should probably split out certain bits, but I'll do it later. I'm not too fussed now. But it's worth knowing. That's one of the more difficult bits, actually knowing when stuff's getting unmanageable. I mean, like, I'm looking at 100 lines here thinking that's probably unmanageable. Some people are quite happy with like 300, 400 lines in a class. And then I'm like, oh, it's probably creaking under the weight of its own responsibilities there. Until I look at what's on there. What? Oh no, yeah, you're right. You're right, I'm being an idiot. If it's a rouge, give it a dagger. If it's a Maggie, give it a staff. And I think one of the more fun bits is going to be coming up in a minute, because once we got weapons on there, people can attack again. Then we go want to make some cards. And then once we've got the cards in place, we can start buffing people through cards. And persisting people through different levels. So, as always, you've got to kind of put the fundamentals in place so that you can build off them. Rather than just fully hacking everything just to work. You want to be laying the groundwork for the future bit. Right. Yeah, that'll do. If it's unknown, there's no weapon. So at this point, if weapon ID, we're going to do exactly the same check again. Which might seem a bit redundant, but it just means that we can do all this logic in one area. Oh, I think this is the ending. Is this the ending? Oh, showdown. Oh, delicious. I think I'll do Gold Axe 2 after this. Do you remember Golden Axe, Chrono? Oh, it was such a delight. That Streets of Rage. Oof. They were the games. I would love to do a Twitch channel where people just come on and we talk about our childhood games. Oh, the reminiscence. The 90s were just a brilliant time for video games. I mean, don't get me wrong, now is a brilliant time if you weren't alive in the 90s, but when everything was just so new. Like, I remember the times before the internet. And that's crazy now. You were alive before the internet? Oh, what? Yeah, true story. Right, anyway. We want to go to the item. Definitely item. Item template repository. Like, one day, if I ever get like hundreds of rabid fans, we'll do that. We'll just have one night where we'll carve out an hour or two, and we'll just be like, StarCraft 1? That goes back a bit. I assume SC1, StarCraft 1. Not like Star Citizen 1. Star Citizen. The game that'll never be released. Retrieve. Weapon ID. And if we go to unit.equipment.equip. Hand slot. Main hand slot. Equip. Weapon. Job done. I was something. What do you want? Item. Oh, yes, we could actually make a new item for that. Weapon template. Weapon equals new default item, and that's going to be a item template. Yes, item template, weapon template. So we've got a separation here between an item template and an actual item. So, for example, let's say we've got a health potion. You've only got one template for that health potion in the entire game. It saves memory. So you got one instance of that potion template, which describes what a potion is, what modifications it's got, what it does to you. But you can have many instances of a potion in the game. So basically, all the potions would just link back to this weapon template. Well, sorry, your potion template, whatever. And the modifications are null, nothing. Could be 0. And the variables. Is there any variables? I don't think we've got any variables on that. What are the default item variables? I can't even remember what variables. Oh yes, that'll be like amounts and stuff. I think. Like how many of it do you have? Oh, I don't care about that for the moment. I just care about putting it on there. Right, so there we go. So that'll behind the weapon there. Okay. Right, let's see what happens now. To be honest, I don't think it'll factor in because the default oh no. So prototype design pattern, what do you mean? Action class, that is going to be an int now. All those ones int? Yes, they are. No, become an int. There we go. Here we go. Goal next 2 now. Oh, listen to that strong music. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it's not exactly a prototype as such. It's literally a blueprint. Well, I guess if you in your eyes, if a prototype's a blueprint, yes. But it's specifically a separate object. So if I go back to unit builder here, so we get the template of that item, and then we make an item with that template. So if I was to go to weapon dot here, I can go into the item template, and that's where I would get the item type, the name, the effects, and everything else on it. The weapon itself can have variables on it, so I can apply stuff uniquely to this one, like how many instances of it we have. if it's been enchanted. Well, actually, no, enchanted would go into modifications. It's like the mods would be like in Diablo 3 gemming. So like this instance of this weapon template has gems in it. But yeah, effectively, it's just the notion of your repository would contain every single possible item in your game, but then the characters themselves would have many instances of this. And one thing to mention as well at this point. So if you imagine game serialization, so at some point we're going to want to save this game, right? But if I was to just simply loop, let's say that I was really lazy. I just want to basically turn my units to JSON. I go, right, just here's my unit object, just turn it to JSON. That's not going to be optimal. Because what it's actually going to do is it's going to go, right, okay, your person has a sword equipped. I'm going to serialize that entire sword. But we don't really want that. We only really want the ID of it. So that item template could just be replaced by an ID. So we'd change that to an ID. Modifications we would want to keep, variables we would want to keep. So really, this is a runtime representation of an item. But when we store things, we would want to store it as a separate representation of this. That's where kind of data pipelines would come in. But from a simplistic perspective, we would want another model that we would transform this into. I guess it's kind of like ETL, extract, transform, load. But we would want to take this from one format, put it in another, save it. Then that way, when you rehydrate, you would go from that format back to this one. Because really, like that weapon template could be described as the number 2 or whatever this is. Yeah, I may as well just save my item template as 1 because that's effectively what it is. But we're going down a rabbit hole there a bit. But that's something to think about. Because as this is what will happen when I'm coding stuff. I'm trying to think further down the line as well. Like what the changes I'm making now affecting further down the line. Because if you're not thinking about that, you'll get further down the line and go, I've coded myself into a corner. And sometimes you won't know where stuff's going, and that's fine. But if you can, keep an open mind on stuff. And as you can tell, when I get more excited about stuff, the tempo of my voice increases. I start talking like Busta Rhymes or something. Get me really quick. Ooh. Right. Is there any errors? And like I say, although we've included a weapon now by default, the damages won't increase. Or I expect them not to increase. Because the actual effects that it's getting don't factor in the equipment. Yeah, so nobody's actually doing anything there with that. And I want to replace them with like a card. I want a card there for your race, a card there for your class. And then beneath that, like a card for weapon, card for armor, and a card for misc. Let's pause that. I don't know why I paused it. I'm just going to close it. Right. So now all we need to do is go to... Where do we go to? Damage calculator. I think it'd be there. No. Rewind. So let's go to the system. Let's work backwards. My brain's just shut the bed. So let's go to round execution system. So at some point it's gonna run an attack. Generate attack. Right, attacker.stats. So that bit there is going to go through all the stats and pull out stuff. Which is fine, but we want that to actually factor in our weapons and stuff. Alright, so enums, I've discussed enums before. Personally, if you're ever in a scenario where you want to use an enum, try and avoid it. Why is it counterproductive? I mean, why do they exist if we're not going to use them? But yeah, creating a base class and utilizing its polymorphism, yeah, to some extent, that's what we do here. So, I mean, if we look at, where was it? This one, this is literally what you're about there. So, if we look at this there, we use it like an enum. But if we go back to this one, we can extend that. We can't really extend enums. So, actually, let me just check that that's definitely still true. Inherit enum C#. I don't think you can. Yeah, it's enum inheritance. This is not possible. That's fine. That's fine. I didn't want to make outlandish claims. But yeah, so you can't inherit from any numbers. So because in this instance we're writing like OpenRPG is a reusable library. It's not made for a specific game. It's made for all games, well, all RPGs. So because of that, we have the notion of stat variable types. And again, this comes from fantasy. In your sci-fi genre, this would be completely different because you wouldn't have fire. Well, you might have fire defense. You wouldn't have magic in sci-fi. You just probably have like shields or something. I don't know. But the point is that you can, like, I've augmented this because in my scenario, I want to build off them. You lose a small amount of functionality, which is kind of what I've hacked back in on. If you go to this locale repository, you know when you're using an enum and you're like, oh, I want the textual representation of that enum. That's effectively what these bits are doing here, getting the type fields. It basically goes through each one. It does a reflect on there to get all the variables off there. And he goes, right, okay, get the name of it and unpascal case it, which effectively goes through and does some fancy break it up, get rid of any hyphens or whatever, and split it all up. So that effectively gives us, if I run it for a moment, so you see these bits here, all attribute, health, dexterity, all melee attack. That there is actually being pulled from the types object. It's just using reflection to grab all that in. Yeah, reflection. That's a pretty important topic. So, in C#, like this bit here, right? This is reflection. So in C# we have the notion of a type. So at runtime, this is a runtime type. You don't have this in C++, C, or whatever. So type effectively describes an object. So for example, I can, if I go into where was I? Into here. Attacker.getType. That'll get me the type of that attacker, which would be the unit. And on there I can go get methods, get properties. So I can basically interrogate the type and find out information on there. So it's called reflection. Java has it. C# has it. A lot of modern languages have reflection. But it's quite slow. Because it has to load the type into memory, it has to interrogate it and things. And you can do some unsafe stuff on there. But that's effectively how it goes. Oh, I'm going to go into... Because that's all the enums really do behind the scenes, I think. Yeah, to some extent. There will be a lot of reflection used in DI frameworks. Because Zenjek's just one DI framework. But yeah, they will effectively use reflection to interrogate the type and see, well, what constructor does this have? It doesn't have any. So behind the scenes, it will actually have a default constructor. And it'll go, oh, well, I'll use the default constructor. But it can interrogate constructors and work out what it needs. So from a DI perspective, like when it tries to inject this in, it's going to go, right, okay, what constructor do we have? We have this constructor. Do I have a world instance? Yeah, I've got one in the DI system. Let's put that in. Do I have an I event system? Yes, put that in. And it just basically goes and does all that through each one of these things. That's why I could rejiggle this. Like I could put the event system at the end. I could put the attack processor at the front. It doesn't really matter because the DI system just interrogates this and goes, can I marry it all up? But that's one use for reflection. Another one would be serialization frameworks. Like when you use JSON.NET, it doesn't know how your objects look inside. It can't just magically go, oh, here's an object, I'll turn it to JSON. It interrogates all the types on there and goes, right, okay, what types have we got? Is it a complex type? If so, go down the stack again, go to the actual, that type, and then keep breaking it down until it basically makes this whole tree of what your type looks like, and then just runs through it. That's effectively behind the scenes what happens in the serialization layer, or a deserialization layer. Right. So, how am I going to do this? Because this might actually require a change to OpenRPG. Because OpenRPG was still, it was kind of like, although it was trying to target a lot of high-level sort of like requirements that people would need, but as far as use cases go, I didn't cover all the use cases. Because I meant to do more with it, but then kind of COVID hit. It's just kind of been stagnating there. So I need to think about this here. So I pass in the stats. But the stats do not account at this point for... Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Right, let me rewind for a minute. Those stats are generated off the effects. The effects are factored in at the building layer at this point. Here we go. Right, so this the stats need to move down now. The stats need to go to this bit. Oof. So we compute the stats here by getting all effects get active effect. However, does that factor in equipment? Does factor in equipment. So we should already be getting that. So we should be getting that. And because we put it at the end now, that should just work. Right? I don't know why I'm asking you. Do you know? Do you know the answer? Right, let's see. If this works now, that'll be magical. That'll just be like, wow, that saved me a load of extra work. Pastly has helped futurely. No, it doesn't appear to be working. Rubbish. Right. Let me at this. Oh, actually, let me just do a control F5. Just make sure I've got the latest thing here. Yeah, they're not doing damage. So let's put a breakpoint here. Oh, actually, let's put that there. One thing to factor in. Actually, I'm gonna get this and put that here. Unit effect equals that. Unit effects into that. Yes. Okay. Cool. There's a bit of an issue with Blazor in that it's not that great at debugging. So when I try and debug, I've actually got to tell it to wait 5 seconds for the debugger to attach. Because Blazor's still quite experimental. Even Microsoft themselves like, hey, don't use it for production stuff. Really, it's the brainchild of Steve Sanderson, who made Knockout JS. If you know about that. If not, then he made that. He still made it. Whether you know about it or not. But effect. So these are all the effects which should be on a thing. Yep, so that's going to be effect type 3, potency 10. Yeah, I don't know what these actually translate to, but we should see a one which is like 2. Right, okay, let's go back up here. I don't trust this. Right, I can't do that. Let's restart. So I actually want to go into this get active effect and see what happens. And again, this takes a lot longer to load because we have to inject in that await. Well, we're not injecting it, but you know what I mean. Let's step into that. What? No. This has gone nuts. Step in. No. That's obviously not where I want to be. You stupid thing. Right, cool. Try to get resharper to fudge this. Because effectively it doesn't have the debug symbols for this. So I'm telling it to kind of dynamically debug it if possible. Is it gonna let me? Yeah, no. No, it's not. Rubbish. Well, I know. Let's have a look at the actual unit here. Unit equipment. Main hand slot. Oh right, okay, so it's just not equipping it. And do we have a weapon ID? Here we have a weapon ID. Alright, okay, so it's just not equipping. That's fine. Let's have a look at why it's not equipping then. So I'm probably going down a rabbit hole with that bit. That's probably working. Oh, sorry, let me see what your question is. Yeah, I could make a test harness for this. And basically run this builder through the test thing. Because that's effectively what I'm testing at the moment. I've just been fairly lazy with this because a lot of people get bored with testing. But yes, you are 100% right. I should, if I was doing this as a job, I would 100% be making a unit test framework here. Well, a unit test project. And I'd be testing these bits to make sure, hey, does this work as intended? Because basically there seems to be something wrong with when it tries to equip the item to the slot. Going, whoa. Can I equip this? So actually, let me dive into... Here's the fancy level, which has all this. If I go to equipment slot, main hand slot, generic weapon. Oh yeah, so slot type is generic. And yeah, that's fine. It wants a... Yeah, so when it goes into here, it goes, right, okay. Is the item null? No, it's not going to be null. Does the item type not equal the same as the slot type? Well, it should equal the same. And is there already an item in there? If so, return false. Yeah, so is it null? No. Is it the same slot type? So does it not equal? No, that should be the same. So that's false. Is it true? I know my brain's falling out of my ears now. But yeah, that bit there should be fine because it shouldn't have anything in there. And then it goes, yep, slotted one equals that, yeah. Oh. False. True? Maybe that's what it's falling over. Oh. That does not equal slot. No, that's going to be false because it does equal the slot type, so that's fine. And that does not equal... No, that is null. Actually, maybe that one there should be equals null. Because we're basically saying if there isn't anything there... No, that's fine, that's fine. Well, right, so it's for different projects. So I'm using Rider for OpenRPG Fantasy. So I've got an open source license for Rider. So I can use Rider for any open source stuff that I want to do. And technically this is open source, but because I'm using Blazor, which is the Microsoft framework for the web stuff, historically, Rider didn't support the WASM scenario. TDD is one of those things that I'm on the fence with. So, at the high level, do I want to be writing tests before code? Personally, no. Do I want to be mapping out the data contracts before I write the logic? Yes, I do. But I don't know. I've worked in places which do TDD and pair programming and stuff, and I didn't so much mind the pair programming, but it was just very dogmatic. It was like one person would just be sat there zoning out, and one person would actually be doing the code. And it'd be you'd probably spend for every 2 hours, they'd probably 10 minutes of actual. Oh, is this the best way to do this? And have some debate. I'd rather just be. It kind of assumes that people aren't pragmatic. Like for example, when I work somewhere, quite often, if Gooch was here, he'd confirm this. Quite often I'd be like, oh, is there a better way to do this? I might have a question about something. I go over to Gooch and say, hey, I'm trying to do this. Can you think of a better way? You think of any problems here? And get their perspective on it. If people don't do that, TDD's good. Because it forces them to kind of communicate and say, oh, is this the best way? But if you've got people who are okay to communicate and they're fairly pragmatic, you don't really need it. Anyway, group items slot. That's actually going to be from the OpenRPG bit. Inventory. No, equipment. Right, so if there's no item, return false. If the slot does not match, return false. If there's always a slotted item, return false. So in this case, all these things should be returning true. So it should equip it. Actually, that's not going to exist outside of that. And I'm just going to put an empty thing in here because, as you say, in an ideal world, I'd be unit testing this bit, but I'm not going to because it's going to end up getting iterated that much, and people just get bored watching that. So I'm trying to be pragmatic with the good design patterns in this. There's only so much that people who don't know design patterns will bite off before they go, I'm done. Yeah, it definitely would. It definitely would. If I was to have a test framework here and I was testing all this and I was testing this bit specifically, it would reduce the time to debug. That's the whole point of the tests. And in OpenRPG and ECSRX, we definitely have those tests. Well, actually, I'm not sure how much we do in OpenRPG, but we have some tests there. But in this, I haven't bothered making any because, like, the amount of tests required to test all of this would take a while. And really, I know most of these work. So at the moment, I'm making that judgment call of, you know what? To be honest, I can count the amount of times I've had to manually debug on one hand so far. Normally, I don't have to debug anything. So I'm just basically saying, well, look, for the moment, I'm happy to do the debug every now and again. Well, I don't see not doing TDD as being lazy. I see it more of a case of it depends on how you go about developing stuff. So let's say I say to you, we need to make a damage calculation system for this, and you haven't made one before. Would you know where to start making a damage calculation system? Would you know what the interface would look like? Would you know what the inputs and the outputs of that would look like? If you do, you don't really need to do the TDD bit. You can just start diving into the code going, well, okay, let's start writing the model. Let's start writing the Surface API on the infrastructure, on the interface. If that all looks good, you're fine. As long as you've got a test at the end of it, you're good. Why did that not trigger? What is wrong with the world? I'm just going to reload. Rebuild. It's still telling me that there's an issue with combat log, which there isn't. Lying out of its arse there. Oh, idiot. No, I'm being a mong. Stop it there. If it does not equal unknown, go through and do that. I mean, I'll still put that then, but it should equip it now. Right, okay, something's gone pop. Or it's debugging. One of the two. Okay, something's gone pop. 117. 117. There. And template's not getting injected in. Oh, yeah, that's fine, because it's not on the constructor. Yeah, that's fine. See, luckily for most of the time, most of the debugs they're legitimate errors. So you can just trace it down. It'll take like 2 seconds. It's just when they're a lot more crazy than that, you're like, whoa, what's actually going on? But that's the whole point. The whole point of TDD is for you to basically do things in a reverse order. You're actually going, rather than writing any code, I'm going to write a test which will force me to write a Surface API, and then you test that, and it's going to fail because you don't have an API for it, you don't have a class for it. But from that, you would, well, with tools like ReSharper, you would start generating stuff off that. Right, and that needs to pass through the item template repository. Yes, that's fine. So yeah, that's the whole purpose of it. Yeah. I mean, like if we look at this, like if you look at this game, well, the first things I did was write a unit. I mean, it didn't look like this because it didn't have that bit in there. But if we you know what, I'll quickly find it. 1 second. 1 second. Where was one of the first ones? Dev 1 it would have been. Hanging out with cat people, it wasn't that. It was, no, it wasn't discussing nonsense. I think it was that one. Yeah, let's go for that one. And let me quickly play that, turn the audio off. Actually, go to VOD's page. And things were already underway there. But for the most part... Let me see, do I have a unit here? No, that wasn't the earliest one. Go back. We need to go deeper. Game prototyping. Game prototype. There we go. It'll probably be this one. Probably that one. But even that one wasn't the first one, I don't think. Anyway, let me just find a bit on here. You know, in hindsight, I probably could have just gone through the... There, here we go, here we go. Pause. If we look at this here, if you look, that's literally where I started with stuff. It's like a framework. Put a grid in there, put units in. I can't remember what else I did in here. Yeah, I installed .NET 5. Did I go into the units bit? Probably some faffing with .NET 5. Come on, where is it? Where is it? Just show me the units! Show me the unit! That's all I want to see! Doesn't matter, you know what? Let's go on to the other page. I'm just going to go into source control and show you. I tried. Oh my god. Let me go into here. If I go find, if I go all the way back down here. Yes, literally, that's how it started. That's what unit started as. It was just literally name, health, attack. And the unit builder was give it a name, give it health, give it an attack. And the grid was, well, the grid hasn't really changed. That's literally what it started as. That was one of the first commits. And that was literally what a unit was. Whereas over time, that unit's got more and more advanced. But in TDD, I shouldn't have started there. I should have started with a test, which forced me to create what a unit would look like. But that's where, for me, as long as you're pragmatic and you know that you're still going to need tests. Well, you might not need tests. I'm not going to say you always need tests. I think if you try and get 100% unit test coverage, you're chasing a rainbow there, a pot of gold at the end, because it's unmaintainable. You're not going to be able to maintain that 100%, and there's going to be so much rework on your test constantly as you iterate. It's just not valuable. It is valuable on heavy logic layers. Like a lot of the unit builder is pass-throughs. Like most of these methods here, they're just pass-throughs. I'm not going to test that's pointless. This bit here, though, does do a lot of stuff. But really, a lot of this is just like, we've already tested that the retrieve works somewhere else. So we know that these bits work, so really we'd be testing, does one actually retrieve the right thing? I don't think there's much merit in that. There's not much merit in that bit. There's not much merit on the testing of that. This bit here would require that would have had some merit, but really it was just me doing a stupid equals rather than a not equals. And it did equip it. Cool, did equip it, true. If we continue. People are attacking now. See? Because they've got a weapon. Oosh! And they're attacking. Does this have yeah, because this affects different areas. So what do you mean I mean unallocating the health value? So the effects themselves are broken down. So a race has an effect, a class has an effect, an item has an effect. So the whole reason these are all fighting now is because they've got a weapon, which gives them all these wonderful attack values. So as you can see, they're not doing much damage. If I put on 4 speed, it's going to take them forever to drop the health. Because, oh goodness, there's just... Gooch is getting hammered by them, though. Gooch is dead. Yeah, kill Kate in a minute. But anyway, the point there is that it is factoring in the weapons. So now I think we can jazz up this bit a bit more. And we can now add the notion of cards as well. And cards is one of the first bits which will start to make this look like an actual game. Because at the moment it just looks like a collection of rubbish. Which it is. And again, The view bit is so inconsequential. The view is literally just showing us what the data is behind the scenes. That's the whole purpose of this approach. If there's one takeaway from this, it's your view in... I'm not going to say it should always, but in this case, we want the view to just show us what the data is. We don't want it to own the data. The view shouldn't own the data. The view shouldn't really care what the data is. It should just know, I can display that. It knows what a view should look like for the level. It knows what a unit avatar view should be. And in Unity, these would be the same things. It's just that view would end up being a mono behavior with a game object. So anyway, let's commit that. I'm happy with that. We've got a weapon. We've got a weapon. Should I put armor in? Should I put armor in, or should I do cards? I mean, cards aren't... They're not going to do that much at the moment, but we factor them in at least. My basic weapons to units. And I'm going to need to change their stats and stuff as well, because their stats are just mental. No, I don't want to push that actually. Where's the race repository? So again, I say this quite often. The armor. Okay, we'll put armor in. This is all in memory. You want to hard code this, and we'll take this out of being hard coded at some point and put it into a JSON file or whatever. So let's look at this. Health bonus. No, give them like 20 health. Really low health. And so a human, they can have 20. An elf, they can have 15. A dwarf, they can have more health because they're pretty sturdy, aren't they? They can have 25. Actually, let's even drop it even further. The elf can have 10. And this is more game design now. This isn't even code design. We're just kind of designing what the mechanics should be, and that's where it kind of gets a bit interesting or boring, depending on what sort of a mentality you have. Right. So we've done that. Let's hop over to classes. Alt-Shift-L. Yeah, there's a load of shortcuts I use. Control. If you've got ReSharper, Control-Shift-R is one of the best shortcuts. Refactor this. That'll let you do a load of stuff. Alt-Insert's another good one. That'll let you insert things, like I can insert a constructor. So here I could go, yeah, insert a constructor. And I tick the bits I want in there, or whatever. Alt-Insert's a good one. So Control-Shift-R, Alt-Insert, and Alt-Enter is kind of like an autocomplete for whatever. So if I had requires in here I didn't need like that, I can do Alt-Enter, remove. Alt-Enter's the contextual one. Alt-Shift-L will show you what the current file is. That's very useful. all these shortcuts that day to day you probably wouldn't even think about, but they're actually quite useful for navigating. Anyway, class template repository. So a fighter, they can get an additional 10 health. We like fighters, they're hardy. Mages, you are not going to get any more health, sorry. Rogues, you're not going to get any more health. You're stuck with whatever your base thing is. Okay, that's good. I'm happy enough with that there. Right, let's work on armors now. So literally all we're going to do is we're going to go to the item template repository. Well, we'll go here first. We're going to make let's go for iron armor. If anybody here is going, you don't spell armor with a U, it's an English thing. It's like behavior. We have a U in ours. Americans don't. Although I do write color as an American, even though I'm from the UK and we have a U in color, I write as an American because everybody expects it to be Americanized. Let's have a robe. What robe? Actually, we'll just call it a robe. And we'll just call this plate arm or something. Because ideally later on, because of the way an item works, you can modify an item. Yeah, well, Rider is basically Visual Studio plus ReSharper, plus some additional benefits. Rider is what I would use most of the time. That's why if I have to do anything outside of this, I'm instantly in Rider. It's a lot better to use. Robe, and let's go for tunic. These are all really stupid names. I shouldn't be using these. I should be using better names, but for the moment, it'll get us by. That's all we care about. So now if we go to Alt F7 here, where's this used? Alt F7's a good shortcut as well. Alt F7's find usages. Data, this one here, right. And actually, I'll quickly point this out because it is fairly useful to know to anybody who would be using OpenRPG. If I go to OpenRPG, where is it? I don't have it there. Let me open it. Open source OpenRPG editor. Yes, open that one. Yes, open. Just an open. New window. Right. So at the moment, right. So let me see your questions because it's more than just a simple thing. Rider is better in my opinion. Yes, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. So Blazor. Let me just quickly bring that up. Oh, we're on Streets of Rage. Oh, Belter, I didn't even realise that. Blazor. Here, so Blazor is a framework for writing client web apps with C#. And there's a whole page on it here. But effectively, it turns all this stuff, your HTML, your CSS, your CSS, your C#, into ASM, which it runs via WebAssembly, which is WASM. So I'm using Visual Studio because Blazor is better supported, because Blazor has two scenarios. It might have more now. But one's a server-side renderer, one's a client-side renderer. So a server-side renderer, you actually need to have a web app running on a port somewhere, and your client basically connects up to that and says, hey, what should my view look like? And it sends it down a shitload of HTML, and it's awful. With this scenario, we're rendering it on the client in the WASM thing. So this is a more advanced way of doing it. Well, I guess it might not be more advanced, but in terms of the IDE, it's seen as a more advanced thing. So it's got to compile your C# down to WASM. Yeah. There's a C++ to WASM. There you go. To WebAssembly. Python to WASM. You can compile anything to WebAssembly. Look. Linux kernel in WASM. It's just assembly in the web. There's a brilliant Kate forwarded it to me. Let me see if I can find it. Birth and death of JavaScript or JavaScript. That there. If you get time, have a look. It's quite funny. It's a comedic take on JavaScript if we're in the imaginary world of 2035. But basically, JavaScript's taken over everything, and it's just like it's faster than native code because it bypasses a lot. I won't spoil it for you, but it's quite a good one. Right, I'm not in there. I'm in this one, aren't I? Right, so we'll make a. We are now making a armor, whatever it was. Plate armor. There we go. Make plate armor. So we'll just make these default armors. Again, ideally we want to semi-procedurally make these items. So the good thing about the way that OpenRPG does it is that you can basically have modification allowances. So you can basically say it can have, well, you kind of decide what the modification types are. You could say, well, I allow gems. Let me see if it has a modification types. So the fantasy one has enchantments, gems, runes. But again, you can make your own. It's just a type ID. So you can basically say it can have 3 gems in it or whatever. But we could also go a step further. And because we have variables on here, we could effectively use the variables as a form of procedural item generation. Like in your Borderlands or Diablo, where they've got the base notion of an item. But they say, well, actually, that item could have sliding values for the effects. So rather than the effects being static on the item, the effects could actually be generated at runtime. If we were to change that to that is an enumerable. So if we were to lazy load that and provide that via a lazy enumerable, which looked at the variables, you could effectively do procedural item generation, which is something we might look at later. Right. So let's make some plate armor here. And the asset code is that's just a link which your view layer can look at or whatever. So it's just a contract between the view layer and whatever else. Right. And that's not, no, that's going to be generic, no. Upper body armor. And again, an item has an item type. So we basically specify what type of item it is. And we've also got, like, you see these variables for quality type and value, and there's probably one for amount and things as well. We can use that so that, actually, if I go to, it's a really rubbish version of it, but if I go to the demos and read live demos here, and go to items and requirements, you see how it's green or red? It's like, oh, it's a rare quality. Oh, it's an uncommon one. So depending on the quality, there's an epic one. So you can change. Obviously, it looks garbage. We're aware of that, but the principle is, like, if you look at Diablo again, if you look at this, there we go. It's got green writing and stuff because it's a special type. So again, because we've got that notion of quality and things, the quality can mean whatever we want it to be, and because it's a variable, it's dynamic. These variables are just basically a dictionary. You can put whatever you want in. So it's got flexibility at the heart of it, really. See, I could put a requirement on here as well to say that actually you have to be a certain class to be able to equip this. I'm not going to, because I want in this game for cards to be assignable to whatever at the moment, anyway. Other body armor, effects, and the effects are dynamic as well, and they're defined in the fantasy thing. All melee defense bonus amount, and I'm gonna put that as 3. No, actually, let's put that as 2 for now. 2. So basically, that's going to defend against all possible melee attacks up to a potency of 2. So if somebody does a damage of 2, that would mitigate that to some extent. Yeah. I mean, the idea is that the data exposes those variables. It's up to the view to decide how to display them. So for our game, blue might be epic. For your game, purple might be epic. I mean, some people might not even use that. They might have it like a background sigil on there or something. But again, view separation. You can decide in the view layer how it should look. Anyway, common value 10. Yes, that's fine. Oh, rubbish. There is actually a shortcut to move an entire block of code up or down, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is. Oh, I need. Yeah, I do need another one of them. So next up is, that's going to be a robe, and that one's going to be a tunic. Make robe. I'm hoping to get this stuff done by tonight, and then tomorrow I can spend the time making all the cards and UI stuff. And also, I want to say thanks for being on and watching this and asking questions. I mean, it's much more fulfilling for me sharing knowledge with other people. It always sounds a bit what's the word? Mildly arrogant, saying like, "Oh, knowledge sharing." Like, fucking hell, this knowledge needs to be shared. A lot of people don't care, but it's nice to, even if out of 100 people, only one person's like, you know what, that might improve the way I code things. It's worth it. And the good thing is as well about these approaches, if you ever decide, you know what, I wanna get rid of the games industry. I don't want to work there. It's too much of a slog. I want to go kick back and be a web developer. Well, let me tell you, these skills transfer directly over. Right, so I'm actually going to here. I'm going to say, right, this one's going to have two effects. It's going to add 0.5 physical. It literally blocks nothing. But I'll throw with runes or something. I'm going to say that actually it's going to block all elemental damage by 1. So while it doesn't provide that much, I mean, if we look at this provides 2 for all melee. So that's quite good for melee. But I mean, you might want to equip your fire with that. That's why I don't want any requirements, because requirements would allow me to say you can only equip this item if your class is this, or your race is that, or you've unlocked the game trigger of defeating the last boss, whatever. Right, that's that bit done. Comment, yeah, that's fine. This one's gonna be a tunic. That's what the rouge tunic. 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 Upper body, yes. A leather thing. My God, I just can't spell that word for the life of me. Oh, I don't know. I can't be bothered with the whole affiliate stuff. It's the thing is, I don't do this for money. I can't give a shit about the money. I make an okay amount actually doing work. I do this for the lols. I mean, I'd be making this game regardless. I might be doing it a bit quicker. I'd be doing it a bit more probably nudity straight away, but I'd still be doing it. It's the same with the games. I'd be playing the games anyway. Right, this one here, I'm only gonna give them 1. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give them the dexterity bonus. No, not sexterity. No. What is wrong with you? Just because I'm missing a comma, it's losing its mind. Dexterity bonus percentage. Actually, no. We'll give it 1, an amount. So do you know an amount will physically add this number to the dexterity? I know. Well, I would use Ryder. I've got Ryder. Ryder's there. Hello. But Blazer doesn't play well with Wasm in Ryder. Yeah, so we just had 1 dexterity on there, which that gets factored in on the damage thingy. But like, if we take a step back at this point, right? We go, hey, look, we're able to literally on an item we're not faffing around with scriptable objects or Unity editors. We're basically saying, you know what, we can just add a dexterity bonus on that, which will automatically get pulled through to the point of actually having a tangible effect on a character. It's that easy because it's data driven. The view doesn't control anything. You have no power here, shitty view. But, if you think Visual Studio is bad, wait till you see the actual game so far. You will love it. You'll be like, what is this sack of shit? What is he making? Anyway, right, that's got that bit in. Let's go to the builder. Unit builder. Do you do game dev? Buren? Do you use Vue.js? That'd be amazing. If you're named actually after Vue.js. Oh, delightful. Right, let's put a armor ID. Armor ID. And again, I know armor doesn't have a U in American world. I'm sorry. I don't actually need this with whatever. But I'll leave it in there anyway, just in case, like, let's say we unlock something after you've killed the last boss, you get a oh no. Well, maybe you could see the future. We don't know that. Yeah, maybe like once you've completed the game, you can go through and you can go, well, hey, you've got a 10% chance of getting an epic or something. I don't know. Because you tend to build up front, and then you'll probably have a different class for augmenting stuff on the fly. Right, so with armor, yes. No, that's armor ID. ID. Same thing here, really. You know, let's pull this out into its own method. Extract method. Extract method. Don't need the unit. Do I need? Oh, actually, no. I do need the unit. Do I need? No. No, I don't. I'll just return back the weapon. Yeah, whatever. Just bring it all in there. Um, let's go pass back the item. We don't need the unit. Go away. If that equals all that, retrieve that, and at this point here, return back the weapon. If we don't have a weapon, return none. We don't have one. Shit the bed. Oh, I hate when it does that. Oh, I hate it. F sharp is a whole different ball game. I was saying a while ago. I think it was like one of the early streams. I once worked with some people from ThoughtWorks. They're like a global consultancy thing. And one day we were just like, well, we've done all our work. Let's try and make the game of life in F sharp. We couldn't for the life of us get it working. I mean, this was like F sharp 1 or whatever. Like, probably 10 years ago or something. I can't remember. It's got to be over 8 years. But oh my goodness, yeah, it was awful. We couldn't get our heads around it at all. It was just garbage for us. Again, the fault is with us, not with F sharp. Right. So yes, equip the weapon of our weapon. What equals that? We don't really need that bit. We do, however, want to check if we did get a weapon. If we got a weapon, equal no, apply it. And then we can basically do the same sort of thing over here now. Get armor. I mean, the good thing is you can use, to some extent, you can use some functional paradigms within C#. But like I think you can technically do currying. Think. Yeah, C# 9 looks pretty good. I haven't touched on records. I mean, since COVID, to be honest, I haven't coded at all. Literally, COVID hit. The role I was in, I couldn't attend because kids needed looking after. So yeah, everything kind of went to shit then. It's only like the past couple of weeks because Gooch, one of the other guys who I stream with occasionally, he was like, "Oh yeah, let's do some coding." I haven't done any of that for a while. Robe. No, that's a tunic for a rogue, and it was a robe for a staff for a mage. Robe, and this is going to be armor ID. I mean, I quite like TypeScript. Gonna put that one out there. TypeScript is delightful, and a lot of the times when I'm doing C#, I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I was doing TypeScript. But then when I'm doing TypeScript, I'm like, oh, I wish I had extension methods. And I remember that I don't, and it's not great then. Get the armor ID. That's gonna be the armor template. Gonna be the armor. So you know what? We can just return directly from that. Turn that. Bind. Yeah. So let's invert that if. Yeah, that's fine. But it depends. If you do, like, my day-to-day job is generally in the web and app world. Game dev is more of a... Well, I say that I do sell stuff on the Unity Asset Store, so I technically do work, I guess, in a roundabout way with game dev stuff. But my main day-to-day stuff is web and apps. So yeah, I kind of use TypeScript quite a lot day-to-day. Invert that, yes. And then here, let's return there directly. This is one of the things I was saying to Chrono before. A lot. I mean, if you speak to a lot of game devs, they'd be like, no, the skills don't transfer over. Skill set's completely different for game dev to web dev, but it's really not. I mean, dependency injection and version control. You can do automation tests in game dev and things. People choose not to. Although there was a good case study for Assassin's Creed, which I believe did do it. Well, technically, JavaScript does have... JavaScript, if anything, has a more powerful extension method because it's prototypal. So you can literally, at runtime, start adding methods to any object or type. Well, you can't really call it type, but there is actually types under the hood. Yeah, so JavaScript's super powerful for that. But it's just the syntax. Nobody can agree on it. Right, let's just duplicate that bit there. Get armor. Yeah. Armor's not equal null. Unit equip. And that will be in the main. Upper body slot. Armor. Okay, cool. I'm good. So now, hopefully, that should equip that stuff. Right, let's run. Let's see what happens. Because I remember when I was doing ECSRX, a few people were like, hey, you should take a look at functional paradigms and have a look, see if you can kind of add some of that into ECSRX. Because you get a lot more performance due to the parallelization of a lot of stuff. But I was looking through F# and I was like, I really can't see. I mean, obviously the fault's on me here, but I couldn't see where I'd be making changes to the frame. I mean, obviously, I'd be wanting to. You want everything to be immutable so that you can do it in parallel. But that's a lot easier said than done. Right. They should have defenses now. Here we go. See, look. If you go through the battle logs, again, I'll probably add a quick switch to turn to simple ones. But we see that piercing damage 0.5. Piercing, that's the defense actually. That should probably say piercing defense. Total damage 0. Cool. Where did that bit come from? Maybe that's a quick change. Combat log, view, breakdown. That should actually be defense. Defense. Ah, yes, defense type keys. That's what I want. Defense. Is that a thing? Defense? No. Maybe it is that then. Doesn't seem right. Is there a defense one? Let me have a quick look. Defense. Because all this is doing is reflecting on the fake enums as well. Defense. No, shut it up, debugger. Defense. Let's go for the damage one. What? Watch it, I'll write all this and it'll be like, oh, you don't actually have a defense type. There's no defense. I thought there would be. No, it must just derive it from that. Well, that's a bit of a shame because it's always just going to say damage. Oh, yes. It's okay. It's okay. I know what I can do. I know what I can do. I'll do a little hackaroony. Little hackaroony here. Go to that one. And do that. Go back to this bit and get the key. So we'll just keep making this longer and longer. Replace damage with defense. There we go. Good as new. Oh, delightful. Yeah, anyway, we've proved there. We equip the armor. It does it. Cool. We ideally want to show that in the stats thing, and I need to remove some stuff from the stats thing. Again, we've literally just if I go back to the web example, we've literally just lifted it from OpenRPG. We don't care about charisma. We don't have that in our game. We don't really have the notion of. This is very simplified. In this game, we just kind of have one attack stat and that's it. On this one, it's like no, we've got slashing, blunt, fire, dark, whatever. Yeah, so let's remove some of that crap in a minute. Let's put on 4 speed. Look, stuff's happening. Gooch is still getting battered. I mean, they're attacking enemy 1 there. And it all went to shit. Sorry there, Gooch. Not that he's ever watching. One day he's going to come on, he's going to do some code, and I'll be like, oh, Gooch. What are you doing with your AWS stuff? If anybody doesn't know, by the way, The Gooch is a good friend of mine. He does some streaming. Call of Duty Warzone. He can't play Call of Duty Warzone. He's an idiot. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. I use AWS a bit. I'm actually Azure certified. Don't have a clue what I'm doing with half it, but yeah. Cybersecurity is an interesting one because the like it's quite niche. Like most devs don't know about cybersecurity. You ask them that, hey, they'll probably go, oh, we encrypt stuff, encryption. But I mean, I don't know a lot about it. I worked at it was a financial related institution, I guess. It was not a bank, but it dealt with loans and other things. And as part of that, they had a security guy there. It was like, right, we need to send secure documents through APIs and stuff. How do you want us to do it? And he kind of went off and unfortunately left the business before he could actually answer the question. But he was going through so many standards of stuff and WASP or something. I'm sure there's something to do with WASPs. But yeah, people pay an awful lot for that skill, an awful lot. I mean, I'd say I do game dev stuff as a hobby rather than. I guess I do make some money off game stuff, but it pales in comparison to the web and training stuff. I did originally train as a game dev, but these days it's like the games industry is just a churn. They give zero shits about you, and it's all apart from indie studios. And even then, it's very hard to find an indie studio that's kind of in it for the love of it. What the hell was I doing? Oh yeah, I changed the defense bit. Let me see if that worked. Yeah, God, there's so many standards and things. It's just mind-numbingly, like, time-consuming to keep up with. And if you don't adhere to them, bang, we're gonna sue you. Yeah, they were piercing defense too. The bliss and the minus are because I was too lazy to do a for loop. There's a for each. Actually, I don't probably need that. I can probably just get rid of that plus. But anyway, that's good progress. Let me commit that up. Stop that. Commit it. Because we've got armor now. Your wish has been granted there. Chrono, we've got armor. I don't even know what HIPAA is. That's just... You're just making up acronyms now. Added armor. Don't really need to say much more than that. Right. What was actually in the... that one? Yeah. Yeah, we've done that, so I can mark that as done, closed. And we'll merge that into main. In fact, I'm quite impressed with Visual Studio's ability to not shit the bed when I swap branches. Back in previous versions of Visual Studio, even if nothing changed, because the CS proj was so temperamental, it would just be like, ooh, no, and it would just, there'd be poo everywhere. Health insurance, portability, accountability, wow. They got standards for everything these days. I'm from the UK, and obviously we've just recently left the EU, which I'm not going to get into that. It's stupid, shouldn't have happened, but people, a large volume of people decided to leave. And the EU has the whole GPDR thing. But now we're kind of in a limbo, because it's like, well, GDPR was really an EU thing. And there's the EU safe data harbor thing. And it's like, well, where do we stand now? No one seems to have a clue. I mean, no one had a clue before when Brexit was happening anyway, but... But one of the apps, I had a D20. It was kind of like a digital roleplay app, but it was more like play-by-post forum-y sort of things for character sheets and stuff. It didn't really focus on the voice chat and the grids like the Roll20, whatever it's called, one did. But as part of that, it was like, oh, for GDPR, I physically got to go on there and go, oh, I've got to start adding random cookie bits. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good. It's good for the consumer, but it's very annoying that like you load up a web page now. It's like, do you want this? Do you want that? We're gonna use cookies. Pick what cookies you want. And it's just mental. It's like the web has become, ironically, so unusable these days. It's not just down to GDPR, but just like you go on a site and it's like, oh, can we send you notifications? Can we save you cookies? Do you want to sign up to our newsletter? And you're just like, oh, just go away. And then if you try and block it, it's like, oh, use an ad blocker. Do you want to turn your ad blocker off? No. Yeah. GeoCities, JavaScript Rain, midis of Streets of Rage playing. Are we still doing Streets of Rage? Oh, let's have Streets of Rage 2. Streets of Rage 2 is the better Streets of Rage soundtrack. Streets of Rage 3 is quite good as well though. Let me turn it a bit. There we go. Oh. Because we're almost done. We'll have it a bit louder. Not everybody likes the 8-bit music. Oh. Yeah, rainbows. I mean, the thing is, if people had guest books and stuff, and you'd be like, oh, I'll sign your guest book. I've been here. Hello. These days, you don't have that anymore. People don't care if you've been there or not. They're Google Analytics. They know. Google knows if you've been there. Goodness me, they know everything. Right, what was I gonna do? Right, I was gonna tidy up the stats thing. Stats. Character stats. Charisma. Bye bye. We care about wisdom. We'll keep wisdom. Right. We don't really have that anymore. No, let's bin that all off. No, go on in the bin. Bye bye. Right, so that covers. Oh, actually, let me just go to there. Go to vitals. Magic, don't need that. Go in the bin. We're not having magic because it's all going to be based on abilities, which we'll code that later. Code to details. Yes, race. Level. Yes, we do want that stuff. And what's in here? Yeah, that just puts it all together. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, run that through. Oh, my eyes. Oh, I need to turn off the silly Blazor debug thing. You love this one view, right? So if you want to debug the WASM, you've got to add that in. Otherwise, the debugger can't attach quick enough, and it just shits the bed. Right, so there we go. That's a bit better now. There's less stats, less verboseness, and I want to have it so that these bits here, there'll be a let's design a card. Let's design a little card style, and take it from there. So what's Bulma got for me out of the box? Come on, Bulma. Surprise me. They've got card things, but it doesn't look like a card. No, it does not look like a card. But it's a start. Let's take their card thing and we'll work with that. That's what we want. Thank you very much. Right, so let's make a basic component which is actually going to be the card style thing. Components. I imagine we have quite a few things to do with cards here. Because if we have cards for yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not a massive fan of Blazor. if I was doing stuff for real, like as I was saying to Chrono and other people who come in, if I was doing this for real, I'd be doing this in Unity or something from the get-go, because I already know about view separation. I know where bits should be living, but for this, it was part tutorial and Q&A, so people could come in and go, oh, why are you doing things that way? And I could explain, oh, because of view separation and design patterns and things, and then I'll move into Unity. And because I'm kind of saving these VODs, I'll hopefully at some point cut them all down into a long video or two, And then basically people can see, oh, this is how you've gone from nothing to a Unity game, which we'll eventually end up with, hopefully. But yeah, Blazor, it's not the most impressive framework ever, but it's interesting. And for example, on the where is it? On here, so this open RPG thing is it's an open source open RPG sort of implementation. Well, a load of models for RPGs. But this whole thing is written in Blazor because it's easier to show examples and stuff using WebTech rather than having to make like a Unity app and somehow embed that in the thing and make all this stuff in Unity. I can just make it in web stuff and poof, just put it on the site. So I find Blazor's good when you want to use C# libraries in the web. Anything else, no. I'd use Vue, personally. But I say that most of my roles end up being React, and I hate React. It's rubbish. It's not even reactive. What garbage. Anyway, card. I'm just gonna call that card. There we go. So that's the basic card stuff. We'll leave that there. Code, don't care about that. Is it? Yes, content. So I think, yeah, let's just put a card in for now. I want to see what it looks like, and then we'll start styling around that. Card section, what the hell's that? What if I got something like that? Am I actually using that anywhere? Oh, interesting, that's used there. Anyway, this could be a different card. Don't care about that. Right, yes, put that in the with character stuff. Character details. Let's put a card in here. Because ideally I want to get rid of the... Actually, I do need to show race and stuff here. Let's go to stats. No, it's beneath that. It's... No. Oh, it's the effects bit. The effect. Let's put a... number. Oh, and do you want to know something funny? A friend of mine I used to work with, non-breaking space, also known as a knob spoon. Always tickles me. Right, let's make a card. Card. No, no card section, just a card. Thank you. And that's blowing up because we haven't imported it. Yes, that can be a cards. Oh my god, it's almost 11 o'clock. A knob spoon, yes, an NBSP. NBSP. There we go. A commonly used entity in HTML, the knob spoon. That's what it stands for, right? Yeah, I go with Alex. He'd always call them that. Oh, we need some knob spoons there. Oh, good times. Right. No, that's not where I parked my car. Let's run this. Just do it. People look at you funny for the first time, and then you go, "Well, look, it's NBSP. What else could it possibly stand for?" Nobody these days knows it's non-breaking space. Right. Pause that. There we go. So we've got a card there. So we want to turn that into an actual thing that looks like a card. So let's pick a width or something for it. Let's do some pseudo. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go into that. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna do a cheeky little code pen. Don't want to sign up. Just let me. No, don't tell me I have to sign up. Just make one. Just show me that and then let me make one from there. Oh god. This used to be so good you could just make thingy ones. JS fiddle. Was there an editor bit on there? Because normally start coding. Oh yes, well done. Bravo to you. Let's give you a it's good meme. There we go. Well done. Round of applause there. Right. What was I gonna do? HTML there. Oof. And I need to include No, I don't care about the things. Give me. What is the CDN thing? CDN. No, stupid thing. CDN. What? Oh, it's it's over there. Here, find all. Here we go. Here we go. Bulma. Include Bulma, please. Bulma handle. No. No, that one. Yes, that one. And we'll put that in a div container as well. And we'll do is as background dark. Is that it? Is that right? Come on, Bulma. Tell me. Tell me your secrets, Bulma. As background dark. That should be fine. That's exactly why you gotta be like that. Anyway, it's do not on that bit. Let me. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just gonna take forever. Right, let's just leave it to that. We can see the shadow bit. Right, so no, go away. Right, we got that bit. So we go on the card style. Because we want this to look something like Slay the Spire. For example, Slay the Spire card. We always look something like that. Obviously, I haven't got the icons and stuff to put in, but we want something which looks like a card. So we need like an inner bevel thing on there. Inspect. Yeah, you there. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I can just do it on here. Let's go for dot card. Do I need to do the bevel on that? Oh, I think it's like inset bevel CSS something. Yes. No, that's not the bevel I want. Yes. Yes, that's what I want. That's what we want right there. Look at that perfection. And as we can see, this is how real developers operate. We don't think for ourselves. We just copy and paste from Stack Overflow. And if it's not on as one of my friends used to say when I wrote it, if it's not on Stack Overflow, it's not a problem worth solving. It can't. It's impossible. That's not entirely true, but okay. Maybe I should play over 0.2 EM at the end there as well. Yes? No? No, maybe not. In all honesty, I don't know what those bits there do. I can't really debug them here, but let's get rid of that bit there. So in here we're gonna have a type because we're gonna have a type for a card, like oh, sorry. Let me read. Well, yeah, there'll always be the things which aren't solved, and then you're gonna be the person to solve them, and you will roll in all that sweet upvoting goodness. It's like stocks and shares. If you get in early and invest on the ground floor in Stack Overflow, like I answered a load of Knockout.js questions when Knockout.js came out. Oof! I made a sweet few thousand rep on those things. Oof. Right, so we can have a type or something. So that'll be a item type. Well, no, card type. Card type. Right. The card type. Then we go want a. Actually, let's make the width of the card something real as well. So maybe it should be content. Maybe the content should have the inset bit. Ooh, no. Nope. Right, so on here we want oh my goodness, what was I gonna do? This is the problem. I get slightly distracted, and so I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm gonna be controversial. I'm not a massive fan of PowerShell. Whenever I have to do anything slightly more complex than like copy. I once had to for an automation build thing we had. We had to like do a remote execution on another system and copy things over. Oh, it was a nightmare. Ugh. Wish they'd just use Octopus deploy. Businesses, I don't get their logic. They're like, oh, we don't want to spend like £50 on an Octopus deploy license, but we're more than happy with wasting a week's worth of two developers' time to just hack something horrible that does the same thing. Like card type, yes, we want card type there. We're gonna oh that was it. I was gonna make the width of it, but card width to be width 10 em. 10 em. No, a bit more than that, maybe 15 em. Yeah, that looks fine. We'll have height being, let's say, 50 em. Nope. 30. 30 still too. Okay, let's go for 20. I don't know how that could. Oh yeah, okay, that looks kind of like a card, but with the let's put that. It doesn't look like that, does it? It does not look like that. Maybe it needs to have more beveled in. This is the thing, I don't like wasting time on this sort of stuff. This is where it all gets all finicky. I just want to do the game logic. On the game logic, don't care too much about the CSS file. Let's change that to 0.4. Actually 0.5, 0.5. 0.5, 0.5. I'm just gonna keep saying 0.5. 5. Yeah, that looks kind of better. Why is that not -5? Oh no, I didn't like that. Did not like that at all. Well, that one. Oh no. Maybe if I do 5 on all of them. No. Okay. We'll leave that as. It's happy enough there. I do think maybe that does need to be card content. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make card content actually the size thing. That would make more sense. Yes. Oh god. Make card same width. There we go. Okay, so that's sensible now. That looks like a card. So card type, cool. And let's say we have a section for effects on the bottom. Let's have effects. Actually, they'll need to be in their own P's or something to knock them down. PPs. And if we want a sort of like image bit here, so was it like a bigger? We're just gonna leave it without a source for the moment, and I think it's like figure class equals is 64 by 64 or something like that. It's something like that, but yeah, we've got a ref card thing. We've got a ref card. Let's actually no, one sec. I can probably do this via classes. Just I prefer semantic rather than adding a load of classes on everywhere. I prefer using. Yes, there we go. There we go. That roughly looks like a card. If we inspect that bit there, is there a image up there? 64 by 64. Is that the class I wanted? Bulma, where are you? There we go. Components, elements, image. CSS is great, but because I'm not making this like a normal website. Oh, I've got to put image. What's image? No, where was it? That image. Oh wait. Oh, I like this track. Anybody remember this one from Streets of Rage 2? Oh my goodness, this was a real gem. There we go. Maybe an image there. Let's just put a placeholder image then in or something. That one. Please for by 64. Is that no one? Yeah, there we go. 64 by 64, and we'll why is that not centered? Make it centered, for goodness sake, Bulma. Oh, it's rounded, yes. Let's. Oh, everybody loves a bit of a rounded one. You think I'm in code? I'm not. Image. Last. It's rounded. And then we'll finish that off with a make it central. No, central. There we go. Yes. The thing is, it depends. Centering depends on the parent and the actual thing that you're working on. Right, justify context center. And that is on the. Oh, you got it's flex it and justify horizontal center. Okay. I think there's actually a justify center already. No, no. Anus. Right, element, black. I shouldn't do anything crazy. Right, okay, and then is justify center. I think it's think like that. No. Bulma does have something for that. Justify. Oh, come on, of course there's things. Flexbox. Justify content. Yeah, see, I knew there was something for it. I'm not like a Wikipedia for Bulma classes, unfortunately. That do it? It did not do it. Very disappointing there. Very disappointing. But you know what? That's enough to be getting on with here. So let's take that. Let's go to our card. Let's whack that in there. Lovely stuff. Then let's get the styles that we made. Right, we'll call this a call this a game card as well. Game card. And that way I can kind of oh, actually let's put it up in the container. Game card, and then I can have the class. Where's the CSS? I've got like one CSS class. It's alright, it's right. I'm used as you can tell, I don't get many people. I'm used to the silence. It's fine. You don't need to fill. They say that that's one of the main indicators of whether somebody is truly a friend, that you can be comfortable together in silence. But you can say the hooray for Stack Overflow. We're all happy with that. Right. And again, it's worth saying in the real world, I'd probably be using less or SAS or something. Dot gain card. Dot card content. Stop that. And go again. Because I've already got the notion of an effect object, so I can just pull effects through. That's not a problem. We can pull effects through. The main thing is going to be making the card look not like total garbage. Right. Click on there, pause. Yeah, that does not look right there. It looks right there. It looks right there. Just not when it's full screen. Right, so why are you not getting the style? I maybe need to control F5. Yes, okay, there we go. I mean, actually, that's pretty. I might faff around and try and get the style looking right, because sometimes I'll do some of this stuff off channel, and then I'll just debate about it afterwards. No worries, buddy. If you're off, thanks for nipping by. Have a good one. I hope you enjoy your hipper work. Actually, God, it's gone 11 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed in a minute. I just want to get this showing the race effects. Right, so let's just go back here for a minute. So a card's going to have an effect. So let's go for effects. Perimeter. Effect. No. Eye effect, please. That's in there. Oh my God, what is wrong with you? Oh, actually, no, it's just an effect. What an idiot. Yep, include that. Effects. Get that. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll just do this tomorrow, because I'll probably be doing this tomorrow during the daytime anyway. But at least that'll give me a good entry point to go. Oh, let's make the card look like a card, not this sack of nonsense we've got here. Yeah, well, it's it's been something. I'm gonna go cry in a corner somewhere, and then off to sleep. But thank goodness we've made some real progress today. It might not look like it, but we've actually got them fighting again. We've got the damage logs doing stuff. We've got damage actually calculated, rather than it just being like a silly number 2 or something getting factored in. Oh, how are they? I don't even know how that's getting pulled through, to be honest. That's actually right. I don't know how that's happening. Yeah. And it'll actually we've got this. We didn't have this morning. And yeah, in the main screen we didn't have that. We've been progress. Anyway. Yeah. Well, I did the items. The underlying item framework's been enough from the get go. Well, not from the get go, but since we added OpenRPG, I've just not used it. But yeah, items. That's a. The thing is, because you can't see it. Like, that's what the cards are going to be. The cards will show the items, because we want it to be a semi-card game. We'll have like some cards down here or something, and they'll use them on people to buff them. Anyway, I'll do that next time. I'm going. Laters. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.